So Ahsoka episode 7, entitled Dreams and Madness, just ended, and I have things to say, um, but probably more questions than answers. So let's just get into it. As I always say, this is not going to be a play-by-play, but I am going to be talking about what happens in the episode. So if you haven't seen it and you want to, you probably don't want to watch this because I'm just gonna talk about all the things. So there's your warning. So the episode starts off with Hera having to explain herself as to why she didn't follow the guidance of these senators um, on this mission. And she's trying to explain herself. And who comes to the rescue but none other than C3PO in place of Leia, right? Because Leia's busy, right? She can't show up to this meeting. I mean, of course, right? Unfortunately, of course. But, he basically explains that, oh yeah, Leia told Hera to go on this mission, and Mon Mothma's kind of like, well, okay. And it was kind of funny. It was kind of an interesting little thing. And of course, Mon Mothma goes to Hera and is like, that didn't really happen, did it? And she goes, well, she eventually gave the order, and then basically, yeah, Mon Mothma's worried. She's worried about Thrawn coming back, and Hera's like, let's hope for the best, but prepare for the worst, kind of thing. So that's that whole thing there. So we start off basically with Ahsoka and Hu Yang on the way, still in the Purgil, and on the way to this planet, and yeah, she's training, and she has saved Anakin's recordings, like training recordings, all this time, which I found. I mean, it was like another excuse to have Hayden Christensen in the series, but I actually really liked it, and it says a lot about her character that she would have saved those recordings all that time. I just like that. I think that's it was just a good touch. They come out of hyperspace and there's a minefield, and the Purgil are basically trying to get away from this minefield. And I almost said Anakin, Ahsoka and Hu Yang, exit the mouth of the Purgil and try to make their way, and the Purgil take off. So they have to basically hide inside the debris field around the planet. And this is where I thought this was kind of a neat touch. Thrawn brings in the Night Sisters to help find her, and apparently Ahsoka's like, we can't find out where, or Hu Yang is basically saying, we don't know where they are. I can't see them on the scopes or anything like that. So Ahsoka basically does force time. And that's what I'm just gonna call it. Force time with Sabine, and Sabine's like, oh, what's going on? And so Ahsoka's like, I know where they are. And then the Night Sisters track that somehow. And which I thought was kind of a neat thing, that basically Ahsoka doing that kind of set off some sort of, I don't know, Night Sister alarm or something. I thought that was kind of neat. And so they target the minefield, or not the minefield, the debris field, and Ahsoka takes off, and the story continues. Now at this point, Ezra and Sabine are, and the rest of the Noti, I guess, they're kind of making their way, I guess, to a new place to camp. And that's when Balin and Shin find them. Balin basically tells Shin, hey, this is your destiny. Go do the thing and rise up in the Empire. You have ambition. My path lies elsewhere. And she's like, okay. And so she goes down there along with the bandits that Balin and Shin met earlier, and they start, messing with the Noti and stuff. And it's kind of a neat scene. I was actually impressed with the CG with the bandits, riding those animals, that nothing really looked bad. Like nothing stuck out as being like, oh, that was pretty shoddy. So Ahsoka's now on, in the atmosphere. She's flying. Hu Yang takes the wheel basically, and she's gonna exit the ship at speed, and try to help with this whole thing. And that was the only part of the episode where I was like, that didn't look. It immediately took me out of the scene for a second. When she lands, it just looks awkward. When she jumps out of the ship and then lands on the ground, it just looks very awkward. So yeah, I mean that's my shoddy shot of the week, I guess. It's the only shot that I thought, yeah, that wasn't great. But Ahsoka lands basically right in front of Balin, and so they have a little bit of a fight. Shin joins the bandits in the attack on the Noti and Ezra and Sabine. Sabine tries to give Ezra his lightsaber back, and he's like, "No, I gave it to you. You know, the Force is my ally." And I'm like, "Okay, this is going to be interesting." He basically just been working on his Force pull and Force push this whole time. I mean, that's really all it is. I mean, he's not bad with the hand to hand, but I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was a little more than Force push and Force pull. Maybe he's got to level up in the system there. Now, I know this is going to sound weird, but because I know the real life ramifications of the fact that Ray Stevenson passed away, I was kind of hoping that this would be his send off. You know, that his character Balin would die before the end of the series, so that we wouldn't have to do anything awkward next time, which is either try to explain why he's not in future shows, or have to kill him off screen, whatever it is, or recast him, I guess. But I didn't want that awkwardness, so I was kind of hoping that was always the plan. At least at this point, that hadn't happened, because, yeah, Ahsoka basically gets away from Balin and joins Ezra and Sabine against Shin. Shin takes off, and Thrawn pulls back all the forces at this point. So it's kind of like, okay, so now they're all back together, and Hu Yang's all like, "Oh, yay," and everything's cool. And then the episode ends, and I was like, we only have one episode left in the season. This is going to be one of those things that I think people might be irritated with me about, but I want more out of Star Wars than just action scenes. So when there's an episode with nothing but action, I get bored, because that's not the meat of the story. It's just it's little plot things that happen, and things moving, and okay, they've distracted everybody long enough for them to load whatever they're loading into the Star Destroyer, but we don't know what that means. So it kind of leaves you with okay. And knowing that there's only one episode left, that's kind of annoying. And furthermore, where the episode is called Dreams and Madness. Where was the dreams? Where was the madness? Nowhere to be found. So, Ahsoka episode 7, Dreams and Madness, wherever those were. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, are you kind of with me? You're just kind of like, it was fine. It was nothing bad about the episode. It was just kind of like, man, it kind of sucks. We only have one more. So I'm curious to know what you're thinking going into this final episode next week. Let's talk about it. So thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.